I'm Jenna. So today I'm just going to be doing a short little chat about a few projects. The first is 7 Abroad the Schackel. This was made by Zach Goins. Really, this is called Prison Ship Crawl. And it's based on Borg system. And this is chock full of a bunch of different tables. A lot of different tables. So it's really easy to just roll and go along. And it's designed for low prep sort of game. So meaning whoever's running it doesn't have to do a lot of preparation before they start the session. They can just roll a lot during the session, kind of proceed that way, and it just really depends on what the players do. So, the basic story. Really, the concept is it's a prison ship on an endless sea. There used to be some crazy person who wouldn't die, super stubborn, put a lot of people into prison, and eventually there was 7 prisoners who started a rebellion trying to take over the ship. So there was 7. So they were prisoners, and now they kind of run the different parts of the ship. And over time, the ship kind of evolves into this strange, twisted, just place full of a bunch of different strange rooms. And it has a really cool part of the mechanics where you roll once per day in the game, and you see which of the 7 prisoners will become dominant for that day. So whoever becomes dominant has a specific environmental effect. So for example, maybe the water might become bile, or there'll be thousands of birds that flock on the ship all over. So just really strange things. I think it's kind of cool to add a little bit of a different flavor and some variety, a little bit more visual representation of who's dominant at that time. And it kind of goes back and forth, which I think is really cool. It comes with a ship map, and there's 4 different levels. Each level has a specific number of rooms. Like the top one I think has 1, makes sense, it's the deck. And then you can go down, and then the rest of the ship is different levels. And it also has different tiles, and each tile represents a random room. So you'll lay those out for each of the levels. And then as a group, you will flip the tile. Oh, okay, do what that says, flip the tile, flip the tile. So kind of a cool concept. So it means that each time that you run this, you can have a completely different layout. So it's a little bit more unpredictable, not just the same, humdrum thing, which I think is cool. And it also has a concept where with each level, it has a specific dice and how many dice that you use. For example, on one level, you can have 2 d4s and 1 d8 or whatever. And then you roll, and depending on the level, it has a specific number that you roll. And that will tell you which encounter is going to happen in that room. If the group is able to beat something or they're successful on that level, for example, maybe they beat, a big enemy or they find something valuable, then they'll take off 1 dice for that level. So before it was like 2 and 2, now it's 2 and 1, or 1 and 1. So meaning that the more things that you beat or the more successes you have on that level, the less encounters that's going to happen. So it gets less and less and, so to speak, easier, which I thought was pretty cool and kind of a nice concept. I like that. And so I did mention that the ship is on an endless sea. And there is one part where it talks about the endless sea, where it's almost like it's treated like a dark deity, where it requires you to get tolls. kind of like as like a debt, like a payment, give me tolls. So you can roll, and it has some really cool NPCs that are ghost, who are, stuck in the sea. So you can interact with them. So I just thought that kind of, again, it added more flavor, not just, oh, people who are on a ship, but also people who are in the sea. So, of course, there are some sections related to the seven commanders, or another thing they're called are profanities. So they do have sections about them, and of course, they have stat blocks. But one thing that I like is each one also has its own agenda. So a specific motivation. And it kind of just makes them a little bit more unique. It's not just an encounter, you fight them, which is pretty boring. So a little bit more of almost politics involved, kind of like, okay, you want something, I want something, and kind of like a playoff, a little bit more of a faction feel, more inspired by unique plot hooks. So I really like that. So their Kickstarter is live right now. Has a lot of cool different goals, and that includes VTT assets where you can use those for online games. You could do maps, tokens, tiles, all sorts of different things. So some really cool perks for online play, which is really great. So check it out. I will have their Kickstarter page, so you can check it out down there. Give them some support if you're interested in the game. It's Mörk, so can't go wrong with that, honest. So go ahead and check it out.